Welcome pilots. This is a presentation of my private scenery project for X-Plane 11, which I call Enriched Autogen. Most of the time I do VFR flights with X-Plane, so I am a long-time user of G2XPL, Ortho4XP and World 2 X-Plane to enhance the sceneries. Meanwhile, I have about 4.5 terabytes of orthophoto data in zoom level 17, 18 and 19, and different World 2 X-Plane sceneries. These are sceneries created by SimHeaven, as well as custom-made sceneries. As a lot of X-Plane users, I spend about 70 to 80% of my time with loading, generating, installing and tweaking sceneries and setups. But hey, it's a flight simulator, isn't it? You should spend your time with flying, not with tweaking. As X-Plane 11 beta came out, I was very surprised about the quality and detail of objects like buildings. Even the default landclass textures have improved. Laminar has announced that they will add more and more regional Autogen buildings and objects in future updates of X-Plane 11. If you compare these new X-Plane buildings to W2XP objects and buildings, the W2XP libraries look like Lego bricks and outdated. The most annoying thing about W2XP sceneries, especially the ones from simheaven.com, is the lack of vegetation, like trees within towns and cities, urban and suburban areas. Although you have every house right in place, the scenery looks quite unrealistic without urban or suburban vegetation. In the past, I created vegetation layers of randomly placed trees and bushes in residential areas with higher density and industrial areas with lower density, and to put them as an additional layer on top of W2XP sceneries created by simheaven.com. This looked quite well, but it did hit my FPS very hard. The second point are orthophotos. To make scenery and flights realistic, you definitely have to turn on draw shadows on scenery in graphics settings, otherwise everything would look flat and boring. But if you use more than 3 Ortho4XP tiles in a row, you will lose about 10 to 15 FPS when you turn shadows on. I did intensive tests about that with public beta version 6. I suppose it is a memory issue within X-Plane 11. My final thought: as long as there is no function like extend DSF to turn it off as it is in rendering settings of X-Plane 10, I have to get rid of orthophotos. Otherwise you won't get a lively and vivid scenery, because shadows turned on in combination with orthophotos will kill your FPS. Nevertheless, the developers of G2XPL and Ortho4XP do great jobs, and you should give them a donation. In the past with X-Plane 10, I wanted everything to appear very accurate as it is in real life. But with X-Plane 11, my mind has changed. Now I want it less accurate but more lively. If you use Autogen instead of W2XP, towns and cities have a much higher density of buildings, with even better FPS than with W2XP buildings. With Autogen, there are trees and vegetation within towns and cities and so on. This overall appearance is much more realistic to me than accurate Lego bricks of buildings with no vegetation between them. Thus I decided to go back to the roots. Now I come to the point. X-Plane 11 in default is really not bad at all. I started to reuse HD and UHD meshes created and published by alpilotx.net. I created a special W2XP layer which I call Enriched Autogen. This layer contains objects which are important for VFR flights, like wind power, chimneys, churches, lighthouses and antennas. It includes as well some graphical enhancements like piers, boats, as well as additional vegetation like shrubs and beach polygons. Boats, for example, are placed along piers and on water surfaces like lakes. Let's get into the details. Regarding the HD and UHD meshes of AllPilotX.net, you have to know that the road network and Autogen areas are from the year 2014, so they are outdated. Default scenery of X-Plane 11 is, as far as I know, from August 2016. Thus I was looking for a solution to combine the detailed terrains offered by HD and UHD meshes with current road network and Autogen data. This is where Ortho4XP and my custom W2XP scenery comes into play. I use Ortho4XP only to generate its so-called overlay layer. This is the Y folder out of X-Plane 11's default scenery. I do not use it anymore for generating Orthophotos. My custom W2XP Enriched Autogen layer suppresses the regular Autogen scenery, so you have to place my custom W2XP layer between the HD meshes folder and the Y folder from Ortho4XP. The overlay layer, Y folder of Ortho4XP is placed on top. Here you go. Once AllPilotX will update his HD and UHD meshes, hopefully he will do this in the future, the Y folder of Ortho4XP can be set aside. There are even more positive things if you do not use Orthophotos. Orthophotos of mountainous areas will cast solid shadows as the satellite images are taken. These solid shadows can be very annoying when they do not fit to actual lighting conditions in X-Plane. When using default textures, you will get a dynamically generated landscape with real shadows regarding the time of the day which X-Plane is simulating. With Orthophotos, you cannot simulate seasons. Imagine snowfall in winter over a green Orthophoto summer landscape. This is disturbing and would not fit together. There are some excellent free sceneries out there for winter ground textures and winter and autumn objects like trees. Please see my scenery setup in this video description for further information. I would like to encourage you to give X-Plane 11 in default a try. For me, I decided to do more flying, less tweaking. With a good combination of freeware and payware sceneries, you will get amazing results. No need to spend a lot of hard disk space for Orthophotos, and to spend a lot of time to generate them. Please let me know if you are interested in my custom W2XP scenery layer, which I call Enriched Autogen. If there are some virtual pilots interested, I would think about to publish it on forums.xplane.org. Currently, Enriched Autogen is, as shown in this video, available for Germany, Austria, Switzerland and the western part of the USA.
Bye.